this time, he's probably one of the most controversial figures in history. And he should be the less controversial. Because God, he didn't leave anything to guesswork. He laid out his whole story before us so that we would know this was his Messiah, and so that we would have hope that more than this life only. You know, Paul said that we had have only hope in Jesus, and this life only we are all men most miserable. Folks, if this was all there was to it, life wouldn't be much, would it? If we just knew, okay, we're just going to go through all this trouble and all these trials, that's it. We wouldn't have any reason to really be overjoyed. And we know that we're all just passing through this life. But on the other side of this, is what God planned for us to start with. And God planned everything good for us. Adam brought sin into this world, and we all were born sinners. And we were born dying. But in Jesus, we were born living. Living, folks. And this ain't the best it's going to be. This is not. The best is yet to come. But in Revelation, the 13th chapter, John is talking about the coming of the Antichrist. But we want to look at verse 8. We talk about the Antichrist to begin with. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose name are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. You see that? Slain from the foundation of the world. John said it. Now John saw Jesus crucified. It manifested, that prophecy manifested itself in John's time. He saw him crucified not many years before he wrote the Revelation. But John said, hey, he saw it in this verse, slain from the beginning, from the foundation of the world. You know, when Adam failed and cast creation into death, God already had a plan. He's not up there making up stuff. What am I going to do tomorrow? It's already said, folks. When God says it, it's done, it's said, it's settled. And from the foundation of the world, from the time Adam's sin moved into creation, he already had the devil defeated. God already had the devil defeated. Because in God's realm, Christ was already crucified. And that shed blood bought salvation for me and you and for whosoever will. Already crucified in God's realm. So, and you ever notice God didn't have a plan B? He didn't have a plan B. His plan for man's salvation was Jesus. There's not a plan B. This one had to work. And so no wonder he went through years and years and years through many prophets. Not just one prophet or two prophets, but many prophets in many times, many generations that told man Jesus was coming. That was man's hope. Jesus, even in Genesis, folks, you know, Moses supposedly wrote Genesis, and he spoke of one that would come that would crush the serpent's head. That one was Jesus. That one was Jesus. Said the serpent would bruise his heel, but he would crush his head. And Jesus came. Jesus came. And let me tell you, he came. He didn't have to come, not for himself, but he had to come for us. All creation would have been lost except him. And all creation is lost now except him. But Jesus, folks. Now, you know, we're talking about the prophets. Isaiah has been called the fifth gospel because Isaiah had so much to say about Jesus. And we need to understand that Isaiah was a Jewish prophet, and all these prophets were Jewish prophets. And yet the Jews missed him. How did that happen? How did that happen with so much? Hey, he was one of the most documented people in the world, Jesus was. And the Jews read the prophets every Sabbath day in the synagogue and the temple and missed him. How did that happen? We don't understand something, folks. We've got an enemy that, he doesn't want you to know God's truth. So he blocks everything that he can. We can't see God's truth in our natural lives. We see it through a spiritual revelation. Remember when Jesus came to Peter and said, "Who does men say that I am?" And Peter answered, he said, "You're the Christ, the Son of the living God." He said, flesh and blood hadn't revealed that to you, Peter, but my Father. And without a spiritual revelation, folks, we don't know. It was the same way with the Jews. They had decided what was right. And so they couldn't see any further. That's dangerous, folks. But I see so many that's already decided what is right. That nothing to do with the Bible. They won't let the Bible interfere with what they know is true. But what did Jesus say? Jesus said he was the way, the truth, and the life. So if you're looking for any other way of salvation, know this. If you've accepted any other way of salvation, you've accepted the lie. And I hear so much. About every week I see somebody stepping up, with another way. But there is but one way. And Isaiah said, he called Jesus to start with. He said he'd be born of a virgin, and his name would be Emmanuel, God with us. God is with us, folks, in the person of Jesus and has been all this time. He's not so far away that we can't get in touch with him. He's not in some building. When we leave this building, he's not in here hard to come back. He goes with us. And Jesus was indeed who God is. There's a lot of folks that won't deny Christ as being a great prophet, but still can't accept him as Emmanuel, God with us. The Islamic people, they honor Jesus as a great prophet under Muhammad. But let me tell you something, Muhammad's dead. And Jesus is alive. So who's the great prophet? Jesus is alive. Not only is he alive, folks, he's on the throne and he's coming back. But Isaiah, let's turn over and read this. Isaiah 9. And I'll find it in just a minute. With all those markers laying back on that desk, when he says, don't get slow. And put this Bible.
Hey, Kathy. Hey, my baby's hurt. Your baby's hurt. Why would we pray for her before she goes, please? Can we just come pray? Every for her mom
Yes,
and
we
dad
can.
is struggling.
This Jesus that we talk about is this Jesus that is a healing Jesus.